So just to go over kind of the team that we have here at the Center for Undergraduate Research and Academic Engagement, we have Latika Young, our director, Alicia Bataille, our senior associate director, David Montez, in charge of IDEA grants and iGEM, Warren Oliver, in charge of global scholars, Chris Ryan, with Europe. I'm the outreach events coordinator, like I said, and Carrie Wall is our Tyler Fellows coordinator, and then we have Osla Kaya, our program specialist for Europe. So for today, we're just going to go over kind of an introduction, the importance of sharing research, preparing for a conference funding. We'll have SCURC give their talk and presentation. We'll go over some of the specifics for the Florida Undergraduate Research Conference, or FURC. We'll also talk about ACC Meeting of the Minds, and we'll go over arts and travel funding that's available for students as well. So sharing research. If you want to share your research with an audience or meet with other researchers in your field, you may want to consider presenting your work at a conference, either on campus or off campus. Conferences provide an important networking opportunity for researchers at all levels of their career. So I'm going to go over a few different types of presentations and conferences for you to share your research. So sharing your research. So it helps you, one, sharing your accomplishments. You know, you took this time to work and research, you know, your topics. So it's important for you to, you know, showcase your results. It also helps you develop writing skills. So publishing your research can help strengthen your writing abilities, whether that's like technical writing or, you know, writing abstracts. It also helps boost your resume. So research publications look very impressive on academic and professional resumes, as well as, you know, listing conferences that you attended, also, again, make you look more impressive. They also enhance communication skills. So presenting really helps you hone in your public speaking and communication abilities. So, you know, prepping that elevator pitch really helps you know, solidify your communication, and that you're having to put a lot of information into like a short summary. And then it also helps you with your career and academic growth. So again, skills in writing and speaking support both academic and professional advancement. So especially if you're thinking of continuing on in graduate school, it's really important to get these like research opportunities under your belt, and then also, you know, presenting and attending conferences to help network as well with future partners. So before presenting, here are a few recommendations that we have on what to present. So you'll want to think of what type of conference you plan to present at. So whether that's a field-specific conference like the American Sociology Association's annual meeting, or undergraduate-specific conferences like the National Conference on Undergraduate Research, or whether that's like a more targeted conference, so something like the Association for Women in Science. Just, you know, keep those different types of conferences in mind. The best way to kind of gauge which conference to attend, or, you know, what the best conference to apply would be, is to talk to your faculty mentor about submitting abstracts to the appropriate conferences in your field. They'll be a good tool to use, as well as other peers asking, you know, where they've presented their work, stuff like that. And then, like I mentioned, there are 3 types of conferences. So we have our university symposia. So an example of this is our undergraduate research symposium that we host every spring semester. This last year we had about 600 students present in one day, which was great. There's also, you know, Whimsy puts on a research symposium for their researchers, and there are also different departmental symposia that go on throughout the school year. So definitely keep those in mind as far as university-sponsored conferences. There's also regional conferences, so the Florida Undergraduate Research Conference, or FURC. I'll get into more detail about that a little later. But we also have ACC Meeting of the Minds, which is for like ACC schools. And then, like I mentioned, there's also national conferences. So there's the National Conference on Undergraduate Research, or NCUR. There's also the National Undergraduate Humanities Research Symposium at Johns Hopkins University. So those are kind of the three different types, university, regional, and then national. And so as far as what we offer in our office, the Center for Undergraduate Research, these are the different presentation opportunities that we have. So we do host the Undergraduate Research Symposium. It's open to all undergraduate research students at FSU Tallahassee campus. And then that this year it'll be on April 1st, 2025. And the application will open in the spring semester as well. So students are encouraged to apply to present their posters. We also host Fall Research Day. This year it'll be next Thursday, actually, so November 14th. So if you want to scan that QR code, you can register to attend. We have 8 presenters this year. A lot of them are showcasing their like honors in the major projects or their like senior projects. So it'll be really exciting. So again, if you want to scan that link or that QR code, you can register to attend that as well. We also host a similar event, Summer Research Day, and that's typically in like June or July. So those two, Fall and Summer Research Day, are virtual opportunities that you have to present your research. This screenshot here is from our summer presentation, and it's open to all disciplines. As far as external opportunities, this is a graphic that I took from the University of Washington, and then these are different conferences that their students have attended. So again, if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to that web page so you can see their descriptions of each type of the different conferences, and then deadlines and stuff like that are on the website as well. And then here's another resource. This is from the University of West Florida. Again, it's just a list of different external opportunities that are available for students. So it lists the discipline, location, conference dates, stuff like that. So definitely scan the QR code if you're interested, or click on the link below. And I'll send out this presentation as well to everyone that's registered, so you have a copy. And then conference funding. So you found a conference and now you need to pay for registration. So we have different types of funding available. Funding specifically through our office, the 3 main types of funding are arts and sciences funding, FURC travel funding, and funding to attend ACC Meeting of the Minds. As far as other funding, we'll have SCURC talk about their funding opportunities. There's also departmental funding. So oftentimes the different colleges will have money that they can offer their students to send them to conferences or to present at a conference. Another one I want to mention is the Social Science Undergraduate Conference Awards, and then NSF Research Experiences for Undergraduates, or REUs, as you might know them as. That's another way to fund like a summer research opportunity at another institution. And now I will have the ladies from SCURC come up and give their presentation. Let me just pull it up.
Okay, hello everyone. We're with SCURC, the Student Council for Undergraduate Research and Creativity. We're going to be talking about how we can help you guys get funding for the conferences that you choose to attend. So I'm Sophia.
And I'm Christine.
So firstly, what is SCURC? We're the, like I said, Student Council for Undergraduate Research and Creativity, which is kind of a mouthful to say that we're a bureau of SGA that helps students firstly get involved in research, find those resources to get involved in the field that they're interested in, and then once you're in that field of research, advancing and that increasing your opportunities. And that can come down to publication or, again, attending conferences, which we're going to go over the conference aspect today. We do run the OWL, which is an undergraduate research journal here at FSU. So if you are interested in publication, that's definitely something to look into. You can reach out to us after. We can help you with that. But as for now, we're going to be talking about how our travel grants can assist you in your conferences. So what are travel grants?
Travel grants are something that we can give student researchers who are interested in traveling to either local, out of state, or even global research conventions. We aim to help with the cost and fees associated with attendance because we know that it can be an accessibility issue for some students. And that shouldn't be the reason why you don't present your research. We want you guys to present your research and represent FSU. So the grants are in a do work in a first come first served basis, and we do provide them in a reimbursement style.
And you can get up to $500. It depends on the cost associated. We're not legally allowed to give you any more than what the conference actually costs. So if you get any surplus, it would not be feasible for you. So it would just be the exact amount. And we do that with the receipts you give us after you attend.
So example of a few conferences. So right now with some applications that I have evaluated, there are a couple students who want to go to Seattle, which is an amazing opportunity. I think their research is in communications and sociology in that area, so that's a great opportunity for them. And then we have another group of students who wants to go to Paris to this thing called IGEM. It's an engineering type of convention, and so we will be helping them with funding to go over there because that is an amazing opportunity for them as well. But some local conventions that are coming up are the USF Florida Undergraduate Research Convention in mid-February, and like Wendy mentioned, the ACC Meeting of the Minds, which is in Pittsburgh in January, sorry. So how to apply? So SCURC really, we require three main things on our application. The first thing is project details. So we want a detailed overview of what your research is. And so we can consider the impact of your research. And we just want to know, what areas, who you're working with, and just to get an overview of what you are doing. The second thing is travel information. So we want an outline of the travel method, whether that is traveling by plane, driving, or taking a bus. And we want, specific receipts of everything that has to do with traveling and any associated costs. We can even, we are allowed to cover hotels and things like that, but it does have to be under your name. We cannot have a parent book it and have it be under their name. That is very important. And the third thing is conference details. So we want information about the convention, the location, the date, and the relevance to your field. We also require confirmation that you were accepted to this convention, just in case. And then once you submit your application, the grant committee will come together and evaluate your application based on the rubric we have created. And we mainly consider factors like project impact, budget feasibility, and and alignment with SCURC goals. So if you are approved, you will be once again receive funding in its terms of reimbursement. So the timeline of the grant. So we want the grant applications to be submitted at least 6 weeks before the conference, so we have time to evaluate the applications and contact you for any extra information that we might need. And after the conference is over, we require you to submit evidence of the cost by receipts within 10 days of the conclusions in order to be reimbursed.
So if any of this is of interest to you, we have this QR code you can scan, or you can take a picture of it for later. It's going to take you to a link tree, which has our socials listed, but as well as the links for the grant application process and also for our program or publication. So if you have any more questions about those, before you apply, or questions about the actual guidelines for those, you can also reach out to us on Instagram. We're really responsive, or you can email any of us. I would say reach out to Outreach if you have questions about any of those things, and I can kind of guide you if you're not sure where to reach out to first. But if you know that you want to talk about getting published, reach out to Jessica, or if you know that you're interested in attending a certain conference, then definitely reach out to Christine, and you'll get more specific answers. But just general concerns, feel free to reach out to me specifically. But of course, whatever is best. If you guys have any questions though, feel free to ask now. You can put them in the chat, you can speak. But that's pretty much what we do. Again, moving forward, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. There are a lot of grants that we have to give out. And we have a big budget this year. So if you want to travel to a conference, please apply. We can help you out.
All the funding we get is for you guys. Yes.
is it funding to just present at a conference, or can I get funding to attend a conference?
Yeah, so
So it's like a travel grant, so we'll cover the cost of like the airplane ticket, gas to drive, if you're driving over there, the bus ticket. And if you need hotel or arrangements like that, we can cover that as well, up to a max of $500. Yeah.
Can I apply for multiple grants?
I believe it's just your first, like, of the first year, you can apply for grants. Once you've already applied and gotten funding, I don't think you're allowed to apply until the next academic year. That's all from us. Thank you.
Were there any other questions in the chat, before we move on? Anything for SCURC? Yeah, well, thank you, ladies. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to them. And like I said, I'll send you a copy of their presentation as well, so you have that information. But yeah, so now I'm going to talk about the Florida Undergraduate Research Conference, or FURC. It's one of the largest multidisciplinary research conferences in the country. And students attending FURC will have the opportunity to showcase their own research and connect with students conducting research at other Florida institutions. And so for our travel funding, we include the cost of travel. So we travel as a group via charter bus. We cover hotel accommodations for the night. So we'll be heading over Friday. So it'll be Friday night, and then we'll head home Saturday. Registration fee. So we'll cover the registration fee for you. And then we'll also provide funding for any meals outside of refreshments provided by the conference. This is typically dinner, maybe a breakfast. And so this year, yeah, it will be hosted at, or I guess next year, 2025, it'll be hosted by the University of South Florida in Tampa. Dates February 14th to the 15th. The deadline for abstract submission is coming up really soon. It's December 2nd. USF doesn't have, or they don't have the official FURC application up quite yet. But our application is open now, so you're able to apply for the travel funding. But you will need to keep in mind that you have to submit to the a FURC application as well to be considered for the award. So anybody that has applied already, will send a reminder out once the application is live, just to make sure you get that information in there. But yeah, this QR code will take you to the application, to our travel funding application. And then, like I said, once their website is up, then we'll send that information out to you all. But they plan on sending out a final decision notification end of January. And we'll, like I said, we're going to cover registration for students that apply and get accepted. So we'll do that on your behalf before the deadline, for the registration deadline. And here are some photos from last year. Yeah, we actually have Sophia here. But yeah, so pretty much, like I said, I'll go over kind of the schedule of the conference. But there are different poster sessions and a reception as well. So for this upcoming 2025 FURC, we plan on leaving FSU at around 10 a.m. Driving via charter bus down to USF, checking into hotels, and then checking into the conference as well. Like I said, there'll be a reception where you're able to network with other students. We'll have a keynote speaker, and then we'll return to the hotel where you all will have dinner separately. So just a little bit more details there. And then Saturday is when the actual majority of the conference is going to take place. So we'll have breakfast and check-in. There will be a graduate school fair going on at the same time as the conference. And then the poster sessions are divided up into 4 poster sessions, and there'll be workshops in between as well. And so one thing to keep in mind is with these conferences, it's hard to go to every single workshop that you want to go to. So you'll have to, keep in mind what you want to pick, what you want to see, what poster session is interesting to you. So definitely something to keep in mind, not just for this conference, but conferences in general, that things do happen at the same time. So you'll have to kind of be wise with your time management and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a photo from our FURC attendees last year. And again, that QR code is going to take you to our funding application. And then students at any stage of their academic research can apply. So you don't necessarily have to have like results or anything like that, anything finalized. It's inclusive to all academic research, scholarship, and creative inquiry across all disciplines. So we had projects ranging from like statistics to biology. So everyone's encouraged to apply. And like I said, you know, we cover the travel, the hotel, accommodations, and registration as well. And it's really cool. You get to connect with students from all across Florida. I know last year we had a student that met another student that was doing a similar thing in their field, and they were able to connect and collaborate that way as well. And then it's really cool to see just, you know, the diversity of projects that are presented at FURC. But again, yeah, the QR code will take you to the application. Oh, and with FURC as well, we do offer funding to just cover registration alone if you do not want to travel as a group. Some students have like family members or something like that that they can stay with, so we do also offer registration only funding. And then ACC Meeting of the Minds. This is again sponsored by the CRE with funding from the Atlantic Coast Conference, or the ACC. This award again covers all conference costs for selected students. This year it'll be hosted at the University of Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, March 28th to the 30th. All majors are eligible to apply. And like I said, they'll have travel expenses covered, including plane, hotel, and food. This is students can present their original research via oral projects or poster presentations. So last year we had a mixture of like both poster and oral presenters. Honors in the major students and those conducting more advanced independent research are especially encouraged to apply. So this one, we're looking for a more advanced research project. So something like we said, honors in the major, a senior project, something like that. We're only able to send about 4 students. So we really want to make sure that FSU is well represented, and we're really, you know, showcasing really great work that's been done by our students. So again, if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the application. This is a picture from last year, one of our poster presenters presenting at Meeting of the Minds. And for Meeting of the Minds, you actually need to submit your application and a letter of recommendation by January 29th. So it's definitely important to keep that in mind, especially when you're asking for people to write a letter of recommendation to you. Make sure you allow them enough time to really write a solid letter. So there's still a little bit of time to apply, but with winter break coming up, you want to kind of, you know, get the ball rolling, especially with those letter of recommendations. And then Arts and Sciences funding. So the College of Arts and Sciences and the Division of Undergraduate Studies supports conference presentation funding through these travel grants. Similar to SCURC, they are reimbursed. So students can apply to up to $500 to cover the cost of conferences in their discipline or related discipline. And this can also be virtual or in-person conferences. With the Arts and Sciences Travel Grant, it is a rolling deadline, so you must submit your application at least 6 weeks prior to the conference. But you may need to submit this earlier to ensure registration by your conference deadline. So definitely keep that in mind that we require at least 6 weeks. But if you do need to submit earlier, you'll have to do that as well. And again, you'll need to provide an itemized list of expenses as part of the application. So again, that includes, you know, conference registration, any travel funding and stuff like that. And yeah, again, if you scan this QR code, it'll take you to the application website. These were a few of our students that got awarded a grant this past school year. And just to hear from some of the students themselves, you know, participating in this conference really helped achieving help me achieve my career goals as I plan to obtain my PhD in clinical psychology. So we really like to hear, you know, that presenting at conferences helps prepare students for whether that's like graduate school or a future career. They seem to really want to, you know, develop their research interests and ideas. Participating in the conference allowed me the opportunity to emphasize the importance of research to students. Receiving critical feedback helped in developing future research recommendations. So again, getting that feedback from peers, you know, your fellow peers, your fellow researchers is really helpful. And a really helpful part of the research process is, you know, getting critiqued by others in the community. So. And then again, getting to meet with fellow researchers, scholars, and professionals. Again, Sam Miller here said that it helped aid him in his career goals, which is great. The exposure greatly benefited academic and career growth, which is what we really want to hear. So again, there's so many benefits in you presenting at a conference. Not only, you know, participating in the sharing of ideas, but also gaining those skills that are going to help you, you know, after undergrad and after you leave FSU. So yeah, in conclusion, attending academic conferences and professional meetings is an excellent way for you to gain practical communication skills, network with professionals in your discipline, and help you build up your resume. So yeah, thank you again for your attention. If we have any questions, you can feel free to ask them now. I will be sending a copy of this recording to you all as well. Bianca, yeah, that was Bianca there. But yeah, we're happy to take any questions. SCURC is still here as well, so if anyone has any questions for them, we'll be happy to answer. So we'll just give it a few seconds. But yeah, if you ever want to set up a one-on-one meeting to discuss ways to get involved in different conference funding, I can definitely do that as well. I'm about to put up our stay up to date. So the FURC application is supposed to be opening November, like mid-November. That's the last update we've heard from FURA. So we're hoping mid-November. And like I said, once people start an application, like our funding application, we have their information. So we'll collect those emails and send out an email once we have, once we know that the link is live for FURC. So, and if we get any other updates about like them pushing back the date or anything like that, we'll also share that with you as well. But yeah, this QR code is going to take you to our link tree. So if you want any more information or anything about any of our CRE programs or anything like that, please feel free to scan that. But yeah, we'll update everyone once we know the application is live. Typically in past years, the application has been open by this time, but hurricanes and different situations, you know. But yeah, great question. Any other questions I can answer? So yeah, like I said, there's definitely a lot of funding opportunities, so definitely take advantage of that as well. Especially like like SCURC mentioned, they have students applying to travel to Seattle, which is great. Being able to do that as an undergraduate is, yeah, definitely a great opportunity. Okay, well, thank you all so much for attending our first conference workshop. Yeah, I'll be sending out a recording of this so you have that, and a copy of the presentation as well as SCURC's presentation. So you have that with you as well. But thank you all, and hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll stick around if anyone has any questions.